Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Hey, architecture firm owners and emerging leaders. Get ready for unparalleled insight into the development of a world-class architecture firm and a worldwide organization driving the digital transformation of the design and construction industry. With Build Smart, the podcast that's changing how our profession operates. We share the incredible stories behind innovation in the building industry with my friend and co-host, Patrick McLeamy, FAIA, former CEO of the international architecture firm, HOK.
You know, Yamasaki's office or firm lasted during his lifetime. And when he passed away, I think that was the end of the Yamasaki office. Helmut did not want that. He wanted a firm that would live out and grow beyond the founders.
In Season 1, discover the untold stories behind HOK's meteoric rise, from 150 employees in St. Louis to a powerhouse with over 1,900 staff members and 27 offices worldwide.
You know, they weren't as polite as the Kojima people. That was just boom. And anytime you have a creditor, whether it's Kojima or the bank, that wants their money, unless you can raise money someplace else, you are out of business.
Bankrupt. And hold on tight for Season 2, where Patrick takes us on a new adventure as chairman of Building Smart International, shaping the future of digital transformation in the design, construction, and operation of built assets.
Ian Howell, Ken Harold, and I, Ken was my technical representative from HOK. The three of us took a tour of Europe of 5 cities in 5 days. Very busy time.
Simply follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Smart now and uncover lessons that will transform you and your architecture firm. Architects, mark your calendars for the Entre Architect Community Annual Meeting. It's the business conference for small firm architects. From October 23rd to the 25th, join us in Nashville, Tennessee, for an event dedicated to small firm entrepreneur architects like you. Experience inspiring keynotes, interactive workshops, and unparalleled networking opportunities. This is your chance to learn, share, and grow with peers who understand your journey. It's a unique conference, unlike any of the others. If you're a small firm architect business owner, this event is for you. Secure your spot today at smallfirmconference.com. Don't miss out. Join us in Nashville and prepare your firm to thrive in 2025. My name is Mark R. LePage, and you are listening to Entre Architect Podcast, where Each week, I speak with inspiring, passionate people who share their knowledge and expertise, all to help you build a better business as a small firm entrepreneur architect. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Emma Tessler, the founder and CEO of EA574 Media. Emma has dedicated the past 8 years to mastering the art of digital marketing, building results-driven strategies and for scaling brands. Through her experience in social media marketing, Emma helps brands connect with their ideal clients, build thriving communities, and convert audiences into loyal customers. Today, we're going to be talking about social media and digital marketing. Listen up, architects. This is a topic that you all want to hear. This is something that you all talk about all the time. How do we do this? How do we do social media the right way? How to do it efficiently? So that's what this podcast episode is going to be all about with Emma. Emma Tessler, welcome to Entree Architect Podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today and talk all things social, my favorite topic.
All right, great. Well, we have a lot of architects who love social media and they want to know how to do it right? Because they're super busy. They're business owners trying to take care of their clients. They're trying to do great designs. They're trying to get the word out through social media. Everybody knows that social media is the way to market your services, get the attention that you need in order to drive them to their websites, in order to get to the next step. And so I want to talk about that. But before we do that, I want to learn more about you, Emma. When did you discover your passion for what you do, and who or what inspired you to get started?
I think my story is a very odd one for landing in social media marketing. I actually found social media on the business side of things in terms of actually marketing a brand in 2015, which was a time when not a lot of brands were using social media for marketing purposes. A lot of people were still using it to post a sunset photo and to talk about their new puppy. And there was still this determining of language when it came to, is this really a place for brands to be? But at that time in 2015, I was actually in college. I was going to school for interior design. So my background is very much related to the architecture space. After graduating, I landed in a interior design and architecture firm in Manhattan, and I worked there for several years. And so coming from this background of design and homes and just spaces, it's really lent itself well to my approach to marketing. But when I discovered it in 2015, the whole reason I actually found it was because I was working for a designer who wanted to expand her business and start doing consulting. And she kind of just looked at me one day. I was the youngest person on her team. And she goes, I've heard some people are using Instagram for their business. I don't know what this is all about. Can you just go and figure it out, like see what is going on over there? And as I started to poke around in this new world of Instagram, I started to really realize that this was the future of building a business. And I never really set out to be an entrepreneur. That was never an end goal for me, but it's something that has just organically happened from that moment. And as I realized that this was the future, it just really lit up something inside of me and just said, this is really exciting. This is really cool. This is going to be something entirely new. And I just kind of chased it from there. And so in 2020, I left corporate and I went off to really build EA574 Media on my own. And we have scaled tremendously since then, just because the world of social media marketing has scaled so much since then. And it's been so exciting since 2020, I would say, because prior to the pandemic, prior to every business being forced to realize that social media marketing is the way to reach your audience, there was a lot of pushback and there was a lot of kind of denial around this space and around the opportunity online and on these apps. And since then, it's been really great to just see so many brands open up their mind to it and really begin to see what's possible when you strategically market your business on social media.
Well, I think we have a lot of ears perking up here because I think our listeners want to learn how to do this right. So let's start at the beginning here. I'm going to give you a scenario. We have a small firm. Maybe it's a firm of 5. So the leaders in the firm, the owners of the firm are doing a lot of the work, right? Both the design work and the marketing work, all the financial management, everything, right? So lots of hats. They know that social media is important. where do they start, right? They were already on Instagram, right? They're on LinkedIn. They're out there doing it the best they can, but they're not really getting the results that they're hoping for. So when you start off with a firm like that, what's the first thing that they should be doing?
The first thing that you should be doing is really learning more about your audience on that particular platform. The biggest mistake is when you assume you know what your audience wants from you, or you just completely ignore your audience and do the things that you like to do in your marketing. And there's often this discrepancy between, I really enjoy creating educational style videos, but they actually don't perform very well with my audience at all. But the before and after content performs really well with my audience. But it takes me 3 years to get after photos because the projects last so long. And so I don't really enjoy doing that content. So I rarely do it. This is a conflict that I see so often with new clients that we bring into 95 Media because they're doing the thing that's easy to them. It's the low hanging fruit, but they're not seeing the conversion because their audience hates it. They don't want to see that type of content. So, what I would really begin with is diving deeper into your analytics, really taking some time, like set aside a chunk of time in your calendar to look at your data because the answers to everything lie in your data. And the beauty of these platforms is that they're giving you this data for every single post that you're creating. You're just probably not looking at it.
Yeah. Do they need to be on business accounts in order for them to access
Yes.
that analytic?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the biggest reason you should have a business or convert a profile to a business account is so that you get the analytics. It also protects you against copyright infringement because there are certain audios and content that you're not able to post as a business. They're not licensed for commercial use. And so in order to stay compliant, you also want to be on a business profile. But honestly, more than anything, you need that data. And it also helps you come across more professionally because it will allow you to have the buttons on your profile. When we're talking about Instagram in particular, you can have a book now or contact us, or, there's a bunch of different buttons that you can add to your profile when it's a business account.
When they're looking at the analytics, what should they be looking at?
There's different analytics that are important to different goals. So, step number one, really, step foundation is to understand your goal here. Is your goal to make more sales? Is it to increase your brand awareness in your local area? Is it to really feature this one service that you guys offer? Whatever that looks like, that's going to impact the numbers that you're looking at. From my experience, the number one thing that everyone's looking for when it comes to their marketing ultimately is conversion. And so really you're most likely looking for people to reach out to you. So whether that's booking a sales call, if that's something that you do, or going to your website and filling out your inquiry form, you're wanting to look for people doing that thing. And that looks different on every platform. So when we're looking at Instagram in particular, just because this is one that most brands have, you're most likely going to want to be looking at your external website clicks. So that's going to be your link in bio. You want to keep in mind, though, that Instagram doesn't capture the number of website clicks from the link button that you share to your story. So if you're utilizing your Instagram stories, which I highly recommend, and you're putting link buttons into your story content, that isn't going to be captured in that overall number that Instagram's tracking because they're just tracking it from your profile, from your account. And so just something to note on that end. But I would definitely say that conversion metrics to be looking at would be your external website taps. How many profile visits are converting to followers because you want people to see your future content? And then any conversations that are happening, which is a harder metric to track, but that would be conversations that are happening in your DMs. Are people reaching out to you based on your content, asking questions, wanting to learn more about your services, wanting to work with you? Or, are you just getting some likes and they're not really going anywhere from there?
You mentioned goals, and I think that's a really important piece to focus on, right? Because I think many users of these social media platforms throw everything at it, right? If you're an architect and you're focused on Instagram, you're putting some of your construction photos in there, you put some of your final great images in there, and you're doing your story, and you don't really have any specific goals, right? So I think what you had said, Emma, about understanding what your goals are and having an intentional social media strategy for your business, so you know what you want to achieve through these platforms, everything gets much easier, right? Because now you have a more focused plan on how to achieve your goal.
Absolutely. I mean, the majority of brands that we work with don't come to us with an actual goal. They think they have this goal, and it's not actually a really well thought through and thought out goal. And that's something that we work with our clients on to determine, because you're absolutely right. Your strategy is entirely based on that goal that you have. And so we actually have built out what we call the 95 medium method. It's a 4-part process that we follow on all work that we do. And step number 1 is your goal. Step number 2 is strategy. Step number 3 is execution. And then step number 4 is data. And you have to go through this process in order to actually see results. So you have to set the goal, because your strategy is going to be 100% based on that end goal that you're trying to get to. Then you can begin to execute on that strategy you've built. Execution never really stops, but your goals may change. And so you may start to go back through this process in a cyclical manner, because at different times of the year or over the course of several years, your goals should be changing. And then lastly, with your data, that's something that you're going to want to review very consistently. So we actually send weekly reports to our clients. We also track that data monthly, and then we do a big zoom out every single quarter. So if you're managing your own marketing, you're going to want to follow some sort of a process like that, so that you have these benchmark timelines for yourself of looking at the data, so that your execution part of this process doesn't go 6 months without you actually looking at what's working and what's not, because you're not optimizing your strategy if you're not changing your execution based on the data.
So the architects that want to share everything, right? They should have a personal profile where they can share everything, build your personal brand, do whatever you want,
Yeah.
do the thing you want to do. But when you're working on your business profile on any of these platforms, you should have those specific goals, those specific strategies, post what you're planning to post in order to achieve those strategies, right?
Definitely. And I would say that building that personal brand is actually incredibly important, because if you are the face of your business, maybe you're doing a speaking event or you're going to a networking event. People are going to want to talk to you directly. They're going to want to get in touch with you. They're going to want to tag you. And the content that goes out to your personal profile should look quite different than the content going out to your business profile. And there are opportunities to create collaborative content. For example, on Instagram, you can create a collaborative post. And so that post will live on both your personal and your professional profile. So as an example of that, on our podcast, the content that we post to our business page featuring the podcast content is a collab post with my personal brand page as well, because it's featuring me. But any content that features our clients would only go onto the business page. And so you definitely want to begin to determine that delineation between who are you as the founder versus who is your brand as a company.
That's a good point. Can we dive into that a little bit deeper? On the business side, so your business profile, how much of the content should be about the business and the brand, and how much of the business side should be the people of the business?
So that's going to change depending on your business structure. It's going to look different for everyone. However, if you are, using the example that you provided previously as a 5-person firm, everyone is very involved in everything. And most likely those 5 people are all client facing. I would feature all 5 of those people on your profile. With a smaller team, there's going to be less content to be talking about because you have less people. So with a smaller team like that, maybe you have 1 to 2 posts a month that feature your team. And that content featuring your team could be talking about them on a more personal angle, like what does this person enjoy doing and how does that impact their work on the architecture side? So maybe they just traveled and had a summer vacation to Spain and they took some photos of beautiful architecture that they really loved there. That could be something fun and more personal to share to the business account and really connect that back to how does that influence their work and how does that benefit your client at the end of the day. Just talking about, happy birthday to this person or like celebrating their 3-year anniversary on the team. That's not providing a lot of value to your audience and to your client. So that's an important distinction because that's something I see a lot of firms doing because they don't know what to post and they're running out of content for that month. And so let's celebrate something, which is nice, but that's content that in my opinion should live more over on LinkedIn rather than on Instagram. So there's different types of personal brand content that can live on different platforms because your audience is looking for different content on each platform.
Can we go through the different platforms and just get a general overview of what you think architects should be posting on each of these platforms and if they should be on those platforms at all?
For sure.
So let's stick with the 5-person firm. They do primarily residential work, but they do some commercial work.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go through. We'll do Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X.
Okay.
Is there anybody else that we should be focused on?
I mean, I'd highly encourage TikTok, but no one wants to hear that answer.
Let's talk about TikTok too then.
Sure.
All right. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yes.
All right. And from what I hear, it may be coming back. There's rumors that the brand may be coming back. Who knows over there? Craziness. All right. So let's start with Instagram. What type of content should a small firm architect potentially, right? Because every firm's different, but potentially what should we be focused on Instagram?
So I'm actually going to lump Instagram and Facebook together because pretty much everyone that we do work with has the same opinion with regards to Facebook. And that is pretty much that everyone wants to keep a presence on that platform, but no one is really expecting conversion from that platform, So the standard approach to Facebook is essentially to utilize the base content that you're creating for Instagram and just slightly tweak your captions for Facebook so that you have your live link in the caption because you can do that on Facebook and you can't do that on Instagram. Remove your hashtags that you're using on Instagram when you're posting it to Facebook because they don't work the same way. But generally, it's the same content on that platform. When it comes to Instagram, you're going to want to keep it a little bit more curated. So what I mean by curated is doing more of the transformational content performs really well on Instagram. We all love a before and after. So whether you're doing that in a carousel format, meaning multi-photos in one post, so you have before and then your after, or you're turning that into a short form reel, there are a lot of different ways to bring that to life. Like we said with the brand content, featuring your team with a personal aspect, but always bringing it back to the value that brings to your consumer. Another type of content that performs well is some kind of educational content. One thing that we really love doing, we recently started working with a builder, and we have seen a lot of success with doing content where he is speaking to the camera. We are on a job site and he's kind of walking around, and the conversation we've had before we shoot is, we did this one really cool feature here, and I want to highlight this because this is something that we do that not a lot of other builders do. And one thing that they in particular highlight is a lot of energy saving efforts and technology that they install in their homes. And so we'd go in and we'd have him stand by, a energy saving feature, whether that's tech that's been installed or shades that are UV rated or whatever that looks like, and have him just talk for 30 seconds to the camera. Why did they do it this way? Why is this important? And why does it set them apart? Essentially, why should someone want to work with them? Because they do this really cool feature and they bring this to their clients. That's educational content at its core, but it's also really speaking to the value of your firm. So I'd really encourage you to do that. Video content is going to be something that you want to focus on a lot when it comes to Instagram. So really lean into that on this platform because it's not only going to help your audience understand more about what you do and why that's so great for them, but it's going to be favored by the algorithm because the algorithm wants you posting video content. And so you're going to be able to increase your brand reach and awareness faster with video content here than any kind of photo content.
Let's take a quick break to say thank you to our sponsors for their support of this episode. Architects, listen up. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in this world and is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. I know this community of small firm architects very well, and I see many of you struggling. That's why I reached out to this episode's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote. And by filling out just a few questions, BetterHelp can match you with a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in the show notes. It's betterhelp.com/architect. Just use that link, betterhelp.com/architect. Clicking that link helps support this podcast, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. So you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. If you need someone to talk to, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the show notes or visit betterhelp.com/architect. That's betterhelp.com/architect. Thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this podcast and for supporting our community of small firm architects. ARCAT's Spec Wizard is the tool that will help you save time writing specifications. Going through the manufacturer's specification line by line to find the right product leads to frustration and errors. And that's where Spec Wizard comes in. It's a free, patented tool that allows you to select products and options error-free and generate a 3-part specification in minutes. Go to arcat.com, that's ARCAT.com, and try Spec Wizard today. Please visit our sponsors today and thank them. Thank them for supporting you, the Entre Architect community. One other question about Instagram.
Absolutely, yeah.
Instagram, you can post on the grid, you can post in stories, and you can post reels.
Yeah.
What type of content and why for those three?
So your Reels content should live on your feed. So don't hide it from your main feed. Allow that to live on your feed as well.
And those are short videos for anybody who doesn't understand the Reels. They're short videos.
Yes. Reels can be 2 seconds up to 90 seconds. And so they are definitely on the shorter side. They're changing that maximum length all the time. So by the time you listen to this, it might be different. But right now it's 90 seconds max. So I would do about 50% of the content that you're posting to your feed, have that be Reels content. If you can do more, great, but don't neglect the photo content entirely. I'm a really big fan of utilizing all of the features that Instagram is providing to you. So that would be posting a carousel post, static post, and Reels content every single week, because that's just going to help you continue to be favored by the algorithm and get your content seen by more people. On the story side, I recommend having a story active every day during the week. If you can do it on the weekends too, that's great, but definitely during the week. Your story content is where you're going to be able to have more private conversations. When someone replies to your story, it lands in your DMs. And that is where you can really begin to learn more about somebody and ask them questions that they're not going to answer publicly, but maybe they're wanting to get more into with you prior to having a more sales-focused conversation. Story content also is a great opportunity to share kind of day in the life, like what's going on behind the scenes in a less curated way.
Yeah.
So if your team is on a job site, you're doing an install, you're receiving a delivery, all of that type of content is great to show on your stories, but you wouldn't necessarily post it to your feed.
All right. Let's move on to TikTok.
Yeah. I love TikTok. So TikTok is the platform that has the most resistance against it, because a lot of people still look at TikTok as a platform where people are dancing and doing silly, stupid things. And it's genuinely not that platform anymore. It is a huge opportunity for businesses because the opportunity for growth is a lot bigger and faster on TikTok than you're going to experience over on Instagram. On TikTok, though, there is a heightened increase or need for more content. On Instagram, if you were to post 7 times in a week, like one a day, that's a lot of content for Instagram. On TikTok, that's not a lot of content.
7 times per day.
Yeah, exactly. Like the kind of I don't know what the word is, standard like tip that a lot of people put out there for growing on TikTok would be post 3 times every single day to TikTok. That is an absurd amount of content. That is a lot. A lot. That's 21 posts every single week. So while I don't recommend that, I definitely recommend posting more to TikTok than to Instagram if you're serious about growth on that platform. Do you have to be serious about growth on that platform to see results? No. Where we start some clients is 4 times a week to TikTok. So I wouldn't post less than 4 times a week to TikTok, but you can definitely go up to 21 posts every single week if your bandwidth allows for that. On TikTok, obviously, it's all video content. The thing with TikTok, though, is that you can post a lot less curated, a lot less thought through, quote unquote, content to that platform. So it can be really short. It can be a lot of text on the video. You're really looking for, and what the algorithm favors more than anything over on TikTok is your watch through rate. So are people actually finishing the video? And you would be shocked that most drop off times on TikTok happen after 2 seconds. So what I mean by that is that someone's watching your video and after 2 seconds, if you have not captured them in 2 seconds, they're moving on. They're continuing to scroll on their feed. So you really want to focus on a good hook in your video on TikTok more than anything. Get them in those first 2 seconds to increase their watch through rate. The other thing to note on TikTok, though, is that the most people are consuming content on their For You page, their FYP, rather than their feed that shows them the accounts that they're following. So I wouldn't get discouraged by how your followers are growing on that platform because most of your views are going to come from people who don't actually follow you, which is very different than other platforms.
Yeah, and it can be much more casual, right? Much more.
Very casual.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't recommend posting any professionally shot video to TikTok, especially in the beginning, because it's just not necessary. People want to see that more genuine, authentic, face to cam, feature your team doing funny things in the office type of content to that platform.
Great. Let's do X/Twitter.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up X. Actually, none of our clients are on X right now. So it used to be, a pretty standard platform like Instagram or Facebook. From what I've seen, that kind of stopped in about 2020. Like when everyone started moving over to TikTok, there was this big, and obviously like ownership changed, but there was a big departure from Twitter or from X. So I don't think that X is a very important platform right now. It's more important, I would say, from people who are sharing more opinion-based content because it's a way for people to get out their personal opinions and thoughts. As an architecture firm, you're not really sharing that type of content. So it may be more important on your personal brand side, but I definitely wouldn't spend a ton of time putting into your content on the business side of things for X. If it's something you want to keep up with, you could recycle content from other platforms, but it wouldn't be the one I would say put, a ton of time into every single week.
Yeah. And much more peer-to-peer networking kind of stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on Threads, on the Facebook version of X?
Yeah, Threads is so interesting to me because it grew very quickly. I think it was like the fastest growing new platform ever because just so many users got onto Threads because if you had an Instagram account, they basically created one for you.
It's automatic.
Yeah, and so it was like kind of a fake metric that it was the fastest growing platform. But with that being said, I don't see a ton of people creating on Threads right now on the business side. Again, it's very much thought-based. It's very much peer-to-peer, as you've said. And so it's not really the platform to post a before and after photo to. It's more of the platform to post, we did this energy saving feature in this home. Here's why we did it type of thing. And so it's a very different strategy. And if you have the time to dedicate to that, amazing. Get on it. But I wouldn't say it's necessary right now.
Right. Okay, great. Thanks. LinkedIn is a very big platform for architects. Instagram and LinkedIn are probably the two most popular for architects. And more recently, LinkedIn has made lots of changes. And so it's gotten much better than it was once before. And so it's an important platform. Can you talk about architects in LinkedIn?
Definitely. I Completely agree. LinkedIn and Instagram are kind of head to head on being the most important platforms for businesses right now, which I love. I'm so happy about because, as you said, LinkedIn wasn't always that way, but I've always been such a huge fan of LinkedIn because it is B2B and it's a place that people go to find businesses. So, unlike on Instagram, sometimes we're going to Instagram for in our personal time. We're going there for entertainment and just to find fun content. So when we come across business structured content, we aren't as ready to engage with it. But when you go to LinkedIn, we're very much ready to consume business focused content, whether that's from a person or from the brand page. So it's absolutely a platform that I recommend being on. With that said, there's two different ways you can be on LinkedIn. Obviously, we all have a personal profile. And if you don't, for the love of God, please get one and make one immediately. You definitely need one, whether or not you're quote unquote building a personal brand. You definitely should have a LinkedIn profile. But you also want to create a business page on LinkedIn for your company. Don't use your personal profile exclusively to promote the business because that's not what people are there for. They want to see you share your unique thoughts on things from your personal page. And if they want to follow the business page and learn more about the business, then they can do so there. So definitely create the business page on that platform. Keep the content more business focused. So as we said earlier, you may celebrate an employee's anniversary with the company. You may talk about a company outing. So did you guys do a field trip? Did you take a little train ride to Manhattan? Like, what did you guys do together and how are you building company culture together? Because that's important on that platform, but you would not share that over to Instagram, for example. I will say something that people get discouraged by on LinkedIn is that the growth on this platform is much slower. So your business page is going to grow slower. The number one easiest way to grow your LinkedIn business page is to use the invites that LinkedIn gives you. So if you have a personal profile, which you need to in order to create a business page, you are going to be given a certain number of invites to invite your personal connections to follow the business page every single month. They're going to renew every month. I believe it used to be 100 and I think it's up to 250 right now without a premium subscription or anything like that. That's just, free LinkedIn, which means that you get to invite 250 of your personal connections to follow your business page. And if they're connected with you, they likely know the work that you do and they can accept it or they can turn it down. Totally fine either way, but you're giving them the opportunity to know, hey, I have a business page. We create great content here. Go ahead and follow it if you're interested. And that's really been one of the biggest strategies we've used to grow the 95 Media LinkedIn business page, our clients' business pages, and really get that business content in front of more people on that platform.
Any specific type of content that they should or should not be posting there?
So definitely, like I said, more business team focused content to LinkedIn. I would say a little bit less video on LinkedIn, but don't omit it entirely because LinkedIn is testing a video only feed right now on their app. And so that tells us that they're finally leaning into the video preference that we're seeing on every other platform. And you want to be one of those first people to be jumping on that bandwagon. So I would definitely post video content there, keep it a little bit more educational than entertainment, right? So anything that you're posting on the entertainment side of things to TikTok should not go to LinkedIn. Not the right platform for it. But if you're posting more like formal face to cam, talking about something specific that your company is doing to Instagram, that's a great piece of content to then cross pollinate to LinkedIn.
Right. Like I said earlier with TikTok, much less formal, more casual, off the cuff, behind the scenes kind of stuff. LinkedIn is the complete opposite of that. Should be much more polished and thought through, but still video and culture side of things. I want to move to logistics and efficiency to wrap things up. Is there anything else in terms of platform that we should talk about before we move into that?
I think the biggest thing with platforms is the fact that you don't need to be on everything, right? Like sometimes we think we have to do it all. And actually, if you do one or two really well, you're going to see better results than doing all of them in a mediocre fashion. So if you're really good and feel confident in Instagram and LinkedIn, leave it at that. That's totally fine. You don't need to get on TikTok. If you have the bandwidth to get on TikTok, do it because you will see results from it if you're doing it strategically. But I would say if you're just doing a few things well, you're good. You're okay.
And that leads us right into how do you do it efficiently, right? We're doing all these things. We want to pick the 2 or 3 that work best for us. How do we get it all done and do it right?
The number one way to do that is batching and scheduling out your content. So the problem I hear the most is that people, founders, entrepreneurs are stuck in this constant hamster wheel of creation of content and feeling burnt out from doing it every single day, worrying about it every single day. It's that thing from your to-do list that constantly gets pushed to the next day and you never actually get it done. So what I recommend instead of doing that, because I don't want to be creating content every single day either, like that is exhausting. And trust me, I create a lot of content for our brand pages and it takes it out of you. So what I like to do and we always recommend is to set aside a certain window of time every single week. So maybe that is 2 to 3 hours where, again, depending on the type of content you need to be creating. For me, I create a lot of video content. And so it just takes a little bit longer, but, set aside a window of time on a certain day of every single week. So it's coming, it's blocked in your calendar where you are focused on content. Create content for the upcoming week. Never create it for the week that you're currently in because you're going to feel rushed and then you're not going to be really strategically thinking it through. So set aside time to create content for the following week. Internally at 95 Media, we actually create Monday through Wednesday. There's different pieces of the puzzle that we're working on different days. And then by Thursday, all of the content is completely scheduled and ready to go for the following Monday through Sunday for every single one of our clients. And so it's a great system to just know it's checked off of your list and you're good to go in that sense. Beyond that, though, definitely schedule your content and auto post as much as you can to get it off of your plate. So the platform that we like the most for scheduling content is later.com. It's very user-friendly. It's quite inexpensive as well. I think it's like $25 to $30 a month. And it's a way to schedule out your content to every single platform. And so it just really simplifies the process. Once you're done, you can schedule it out and it's going to be auto posted for you. That doesn't mean that you should never be in your account. I do recommend that you have somebody in your account to handle engagement with your audience because building your community on these platforms is genuinely how you're going to see results. It's not really through your content, it's through your community and your interactions. And so you definitely need someone actively in the accounts. But on the posting side of things, really look at how you can automate that as much as possible.
Good advice. Use scheduling to post, but make sure you're in it every day, engaging with the community that's being formed by all of that content work that you're doing.
Exactly.
Fantastic. 95 Media, what type of work do you do and how do people work with you?
So our number one best-selling way that we work is social media management. It's our way that we are able to support businesses by handling everything when it comes to their social media marketing. So we go ahead and create the content, the imagery, the video, the captions, hashtags, get all that content scheduled out, and we are actively in your accounts for you. As I just mentioned, we handle all of that. We're building, the community who already knows about you, but also intentionally getting in front of new people as well to increase your reach. We manage every single platform under the sun, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, X, like all of the things and all of the new ones coming out. And really with the end goal of building your brand and helping you really see results from your content because so many businesses, as we've talked about today, are constantly creating, but not actually seeing those results. And so we really come in and help turn that around, get some real results coming in and take that work off of the shoulders of the founder or the intern or someone who's not supposed to be doing, your marketing at the end of the day. And so that's really what we love doing the most, providing a really white glove service in that sense. And because of my background in design and architecture, about 60% of our clients are actually in this field. And so our team has tons of experience working with firms in this space. We love it. It's so fun for us. And so, if you're interested in any of those services, we have inquiry forms on our website, 95media.co, or we're active on every platform. If you'd like to find us there, it's 95 Media, all spelled out, typically on all the platforms.
All right. What's one thing, right? We gave them a lot of information today.
Yeah.
Big fire hose on social media. Let's give them one thing to leave with. What's one thing that a small firm architect can do today to build a better business for tomorrow?
Today, definitely look at your data. Kind of bring it full circle to the beginning of this interview. Go back into your data, whatever platforms you're currently on, pull a report for yourself, sit down, really start looking at what is connecting with my audience. What should I be doing more of? And what should I just finally admit to myself is not working, it's not connecting, and omit that moving forward. That's really going to set you on the right path for seeing higher conversions. When you lean into what your audience is already liking from you, it's going to start to spark even more ideas as well, and kind of other avenues you could take that type of content down as you get even more feedback from your audience. So definitely start looking at the data, create more of what's already doing well, and then see where that takes you.
Emma Tessler is her name. 95 Media is the name of the firm. 95media.co is the website, all spelled out, 95media.co. Also, a podcast, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. A podcast is called Stop Scrolling, Start Scaling. So go subscribe to Stop Scrolling, Start Scaling with Emma Tessler. And friends, Emma, thank you very much for sharing so much information today about social media. I think a lot of architects are going to rethink the way that they're doing social media after this episode. Thank you for that. And thanks for joining me today at Entre Architect Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so great.
If you liked this episode of Entre Architect Podcast, please share a link to this episode with a friend. Either just click the share button or highlight the URL and send the link to this episode with a friend, because that's how Entre Architect has grown to serve thousands more architects just like you throughout the 10 plus years of Entre Architect. That's how we've grown, architect to architect. So I would love for you to share this episode and all the episodes with one friend every week. We'd love that. And thank you to our sponsors for this episode. We don't have an episode if there's no sponsors. So thank you to our sponsors. Links to those sponsors, which you should go visit and click, and all the resources that we discussed today for this specific episode, they are all available at entrearchitect.com/podcast. Every episode that we've recorded is there, entrearchitect.com/podcast. Go click the links to the sponsors and say hello. Entre Architect is a member of the Gable Media Podcast Network. You should go visit that at gablemedia.com. That is the next evolution of interactive media and resources for the AEC community. You can now earn continuing education credits for listening to select episodes of this podcast, Entre Architect Podcast. Yes, AIA CEUs for listening to a podcast. It's there, and many other podcasts are there as well, and you can listen to all of them and get credit. Learn more about our program, Gable Members Program, at the gablemedia.com/members website. That's GABL media.com/members. And if you are a small firm architect, join us today at Entre Architect Network. That is the worldwide organization for small firm entrepreneur architects. If you own your own architecture firm, you are an entrepreneur architect. You are an Entre Architect. With weekly live group business coaching. Yep, we have business coaching there. Monthly live business training with AIA CEUs, 2 a month. So 24 AIA credits per year, including 12 of those are HSWs. We have them in the membership. Business resources, all the resources you need to run your business, special session webinars, mastermind groups, and a thriving community of small firm architects just like you. Hundreds of architects are there waiting for you to join. So we provide the support and encouragement you need to succeed as a small firm architect. I know that you haven't been trained as a business person when you launched your firm. That's what we do. Come learn how to run a business at Entre Architect Network. And today you can go join right now for free for 30 days at this link, entrearchitect.com/30 days will give you free 30 days for membership. Go check it out at entrearchitect.com/30 days, and I will see you there. Thank you for listening to this episode of Entre Architect Podcast. My name is Mark R. LePage, and I want you to remember 3 words: love, learn, share. Have a great day.
Imagine earning continuing education credits while doing exactly what you're doing right now. Well, you can. Gable Media has revolutionized the way you earn your continuing education credits with a groundbreaking approach. Forget running around town and scouring the internet for credit-worthy courses. Fulfill your CE requirements effortlessly by listening to engaging podcasts just like the one you're listening to now. Our podcasts are designed to educate, entertain, and inspire, all in a user-friendly environment. But wait, there's more. Architects, Gable Media is also approved as an AIA continuing education services provider. Upon completion, we handle everything, from reporting your hours directly to the AIA to storing your certificates in your personal Gable Media profile for your self-reporting needs. So follow the link in the show notes and start earning your credits in the most innovative and entertaining way possible with Gable Media.
Attention architects and creative minds, get ready to supercharge your brand with Build Your Brand, the podcast that's unlocking the secrets of branding success for creatives. Hey there, it's Mark Arlepage, founder of Entree Architect, and I'm inviting you to join my friend, architect marketing expert Jeff Eccles at Build Your Brand podcast, where he explores the captivating stories of the world's top brands and transforms their lessons into powerful moves for small firm architects and creatives like you. In Season 1, Jeff shares the thrilling tale of Southwest Airlines, where he dissects their journey to the summit and distills it into strategies tailor-made for you.
It's important to keep in mind that companies like Southwest compete in the real world, just like you, and face real-world challenges, just like you. You might be surprised at how similar those challenges are to the struggles that you grapple with on a day-to-day basis.
Don't miss out on your blueprint for success. Subscribe, tune in, and let's build your brand together.
You may have noticed that the very best brands in the world are also known for having somewhat unique corporate cultures. That's often the glue that holds everything together when they encounter those rough spots.
We don't do it because it inconveniences the passengers to whom we are primarily dedicated, the short haul, frequent flyer.
Follow the link in the show notes to subscribe to Build Your Brand today. Remember, no matter the size, the journey's the same. Your brand's journey to the top starts here.